Hello and welcome if you're new to my channel, and if you're a subscriber, a warm welcome back. Today's video has been specifically requested by one of my subscribers, and she has asked me to talk about British toiletries, and she mentioned there are a number of really nice brands out there, and I've chosen what I hope is a fairly solid but diverse selection of brands, with some that are very well known and others that are very much under the radar. But regardless, all are at the top of their respective sectors and weighted heavily on quality. I'm Anisu Sagonda, and I manage a luxury lifestyle management business in London. My content is largely educationally focused and geared towards people who are typically new to money or keen to explore alternate mid-lux or super brands that are a little under the radar but still very much weighted on quality. My first two brands I'm going to talk about in tandem, and that's because they are the only two pure perfumers, both with 2 royal warrants each left in the industry, and they're Floris and Penhaligons. And whenever anybody talks about any British brands that are very well known, highly respected, or any lists are published, invariably both, if not one or the other, will be featured. And I just didn't think it was fair to talk about one without the other. And so I chose them for a number of reasons. The first is their perfumes, luxury perfumes. And whether you're a man or a woman, you're young or old, most people like perfume. And you'll wear it either every day or on occasion. But it smells nice, and it typically gives you the feel-good factor. The second reason is the whole concept of the royal warrant. And it's something I admire greatly about the British culture. They really nurture and support their own. A royal warrant is essentially the celebration of British craftsmanship. It's a mark of recognition given to a company that supplies either a good or a service to a senior royal member of the British monarchy. And there are 3 senior members, and they're the only ones who can grant these royal warrants, and they're called granters. And the 3 members are Her Majesty, the Queen of England. There is His Royal Highness, the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip, and His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales, Prince Charles. And what happens is a company applies for the grant, and they need to have been supplying the grantor for the last 5 out of 7 years, and the immediate 12 months prior to the warrant being granted. And there needs to be a trade agreement in place, so there has to actually be an exchange of money. So it's not a good or a service that they give as complimentary or in exchange for publicity. The royal member actually pays for the items. And the warrant, once it's granted, it can still be revoked. And it forces a company to maintain very high standards and also consistency, and of course remain scandal-free. There have been cases in the past where a company has lost their warrant on the back of negative publicity. And the third reason is just this whole concept of luxury perfume and what it is. The same subscriber who requested this video also asked me to give my take on luxury perfumes, which I'll do in a later video. But today I'm just literally going to glide over perfumes. But when you buy into luxury perfume, you're buying into 2 things. You're buying into the first thing being that the perfume is made by a perfumer, somebody who's an expert in making perfumes, who knows what combinations to put together and how to do it. Whereas with the mass market perfumes, you're typically buying a perfume that's either created by a skincare brand, a clothing brand, or a jewelry brand, who are making perfume as an extension to their current product range. And so it's not necessarily an expert, but they commission a company just to put together a standard product. But you're also buying into the quality of the ingredients. You're buying a perfume that's made from very high level, high grade rather, oil and also synthetic products. And what essentially happens is they then mix a perfume that has a very specific and refined scent. So that's what you're buying into when you're buying luxury perfume. But the 2 that I'm going to talk about that I mentioned, Penhaligons and Floris, I'm going to kick off with Floris. And Floris is a very old and very traditional brand. It was started in 1730. It's 290 years old. It's privately run and owned, and it's still located in the original store that it opened in 1730 at 89 Jermyn Street. And it's a brand that people typically buy into for a couple of reasons. For nostalgia, and also you're buying into the history. Nostalgia, you're buying a fragrance that reminds you of a past place or a time in your life, or you're buying a fragrance because it's something that was worn by a past well-known figure, like Winston Churchill, for example, or Cary Grant, or Ian Fleming. You have Oscar Wilde, Marilyn Monroe, just to name a few people who've worn their fragrances, and people will buy Floris fragrances because they know they were worn by some of these people. But it's a very old and traditional looking brand. The look of it in terms of the colors, there's largely white, there's navy, there's gold, a very muted gold, and it makes the brand look it's very luxurious, but in a very grown up, understated and classy way. So if you saw any of the products in the Queen's bathroom, they wouldn't look out of place. There's no hype or fuss with this brand. And apart from fragrances, they do a number of other products which very much complement the fragrances. Products such as body lotions, hand lotions, you've got shower gels, you have soaps, you also have candles, you have beautiful bath essence, and you have mouthwash. And in particular, the mouthwash and the bath essence, I'd also like to recommend in addition to the fragrances, because there's something that you need to have on your beauty bucket list, because they're very different to the standard mouthwash or bath essence you get. And in particular, the bath essence, there are 4 flavors. The one I particularly like is the Lily of the Valley. You just add a few drops to your bath water, and it just leaves your skin feeling incredibly smooth and very lightly scented. And then the mouthwash is something that's very different. You won't see anything else like it on the market. And it comes in a very beautiful, ornate perfume bottle. So it looks very glamorous either on your dressing table or your bathroom sill. And you just add a few drops to a cup of water, and it just leaves your breath very, very delicately scented. It is fluoride free, it's antibacterial, and it's fantastic. It's something that's very popular for florists, and they actually limit the number of mouthwashes you can buy. There are 2 scents, there's rose and there's violet, and the one I highly recommend is the violet. Try it once, but I can't promise you won't become addicted. Going back to the fragrances, they have 3 tiers. There's the first tier, which is their signature collection. It's Eau de Toilette, 100ml bottle, retails for £80. And they have I'll give you a number of fragrances with each tier, just as a starting point when you're navigating the brand. So at least you know some of the more popular fragrances, and you can start there and then look at other things. But the 4 I'd recommend, particularly from their signature collection, there is Bouquet De La Rain. It's a floral fruity fragrance which was created for Queen Victoria when she was getting married to Prince Albert to wear at her wedding. You also have the number 89, which is a woody citrus fragrance, and it's something that was worn and loved by Ian Fleming, the creator of James Bond. It was worn by Cary Grant, Sir Alec Guinness. You have the number 127, a favorite of Sir Winston Churchill, citrus floral fragrance. And you also have white rose. White rose is the fragrance that's most recommended when people recommend anything or talk about florists. It's a floral fragrance. It has notes of iris, there's violet, and there's rose in there. The second tier is the Eau de Toilette, and it's the private collection. And the fragrances I would recommend from there, it retails for between £140 to £160. And what I would recommend, they have 4 fragrances that are named after years. And they are fragrances that smell of that particular year, their scents that were associated with that particular year. And they are 1927, 1967, 1976, and 1988. I'd also recommend some new fragrances in that private collection. There's the Bergamotti, there is the honey and oud, and there's also the Neroli Voyage. I'll just slip in one more. There's a collaboration that Floris did with Turnbull Asser. And Turnbull Asser have the royal warrant from His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales, Prince Charles, for his shirts. And they have a fragrance called 7172. It's a very manly but fresh fragrance, one of their classic ones. So I would recommend those. And then the third tier is their customized range of fragrances. They retail for £550. You meet with the master perfumer, 2-hour session, glass of champagne, and you talk about the fragrances you like, and he puts together a fragrance specially for you. Their global bestseller out of all their fragrances is actually the number 89, the woody citrus one that was loved by Ian Fleming. Penhaligon's is a brand that's very similar to Floris in that it has the 3 tiers, and it also has the complementing range of products to the fragrances, so such as your shower gels, soaps, body lotions, and candles. But where it differs is that it is owned by a big family-run Spanish group called Puig, who own a number of fashion and fragrance brands. So on the fashion side, brands such as Christian Louboutin, Carolina Herrera, Dries Van Noten. And on the fragrance side, brands such as Comme des Garçons Parfum, Prada Parfum. And recently they took on Charlotte Tilbury. Penhaligon's was founded 150 years ago in 1890, and it's a brand that is also focused on its history, but not as much as Floris. They're very much a brand that has evolved with the times and adapted to embrace a catalogue of fragrances that has broadened to include the more intense demands, such as oud. And looking specifically at their fragrances, the first tier is also called the Signature Collection. It's a mixture of eau de parfum, eau de toilette. It's priced between 110 and 178 pounds, depending on the formulation of the perfume. It's a 100ml bottle. And the fragrances I'd like to recommend in that space, the first 2, which are more on the citrusy side, and the first one is one of their oldest perfumes, and it's the Blenheim Bouquet. It's a mixture of black pepper, there's lemon, and there's pine. And the second one, it smells very much of an English oak. It's called Quercus. And then another 2, which are more on the woody side. The first one, my personal favorite, which is Endymion Cologne. And the second, which was a favorite of Princess Diana, Bluebells. And it literally smells like bluebells in the woods. Also in this range, you have their global bestseller, which is the Halfeti, and that is an oud, rose, patchouli, amber fragrance. And they've also developed, in addition to the successful Halfeti, Halfeti cedars and Halfeti leather. And then moving on to the next tier, it's a tier called the Portrait Collection. And all of the fragrances that Penhaligon creates have a backstory to them. And the second tier, the Portrait Collection, is based around a fictional British aristocratic family with a number of players. It's a 75ml bottle. It is in a beautiful crystal bottle, handmade top, and it's priced at 192 pounds for the eau de parfum. All of the labeling for the Penhaligon fragrances is exactly the same as it was when the brand first started. All they've changed is just the formulation. But talking specifically about the Portrait Collection, 3 fragrances I'd like to recommend. The first one is a sweet scented rose. It's the Coveted Duchess Rose. And the other 2 are more on the woody side. There's the Blazing Mr. Sam and the Tragedy of Lord George. Penhaligon has some really fun and very interesting brands, very different to Floris in terms of the look and the feel of the brand. My next brand is a pioneering, award-winning, ethical, organic, and natural skincare and well-being brand. It's Nils Yard. Nils Yard is a brand that fits a number of caps. So whether you're somebody who's incredibly health conscious and you're particular about the type and quality of food that you put into your body, then it would follow that you're also very conscious about what goes onto your skin. And you'd be more inclined towards something that's natural or with as few nasties as possible. Or you're somebody with allergies or sensitivities, or you're somebody who is just looking for a really good brand that's not mass market, but not necessarily at the very top end of the market, but something that's nestled nicely in between, very good quality in terms of how well the product performs, priced competitively, then Nils Yard is the brand for you. The majority of their ingredients are farmed in farms around the world, but everything is produced at their eco factory in Dorset in the south of England. And they have a store in central London in Covent Garden, and it's located in Nils Yard, a very colourful, fun courtyard with a number of stores, with restaurants, and also their treatment rooms. So you're able to get a treatment and buy products after your treatment in the store, or get products from the store and use them for your treatment. They also have a herbalist on site in the treatment rooms. But I'm literally just going to work my way around the store and just talk you through their full range of products within their skincare and well-being. So in front, you just have a table with their skincare products. They use these iconic blue bottles because the blue color ensures that ultraviolet rays do not damage the products. That way, they can make products that are as pure as possible with as few preservatives. To my left is a create your own range, and this range is fragrance free, and it's essentially a number of products. You have the option of either face or body lotion. You have oils, so massage or bath oil, and then you have hair or body wash. And then you can add your own essential oils, your flower remedies or tinctures, depending on your preferences. So you have that range, and then moving around you have the supplements. And then you have more skincare in front of you. And the skincare, all of their skincare has essential oils in it, with the exception of their mother and baby range and their sensitive skin range. So that's their skincare. And then moving around, you have all their herbs. And the herbs can be used for pretty much any condition or ailment you might have that needs addressing. And you can buy the herbs as is, and take them either with a fruit juice, with water, in your tea, or whatever the preferred solution is. Or you have the option of buying the herbs in tinctures. And tinctures are herbs that are mixed with alcohol and water. The alcohol and water solution is able to draw out the medicinal properties and make the herb a lot more effective to the body. So you have that, and then there's more skincare as well. You also have candles. They also do beauty books and recipe books, and then they have a range of products, a full skincare range of products for both men and women. And what I will do is I will just talk about 3 products as a way of just opening the brand up to you if you're not familiar with it, or if you do know the brand, something else for you to try if you're not already trying these products. And my first one, I've tried to choose products that are incredibly topical and relevant to the times we're going through now. And sleep is something that everybody talks about, everybody knows about. You either as somebody who sleeps very well or someone who doesn't sleep well, and creating a calm and relaxing and conducive environment so you can sleep well at night. And what I highly recommend is something called the pillow mist. And the pillow mist is a mixture of mandarin, vetiver, and lavender. And you just spray that maybe 30 centimeters above your pillow and around the room. Don't spray it directly on the pillow, it will stain it. 15-20 minutes before you're due to sleep. So you just start creating a very calm environment. The second product I'd like to recommend is the organic body oil, and this is something you take orally. It's a mixture of, there's flaxseed, hemp seed, evening primrose, and avocado oil, and it's an oil you take possibly 2 tablespoons before every meal. It's amazing and totally nourishes your skin, your nails, and your hair. It's a complete all-round product. My final recommendation is the Wild Rose Beauty Balm, and this is one of their best-selling products. I will just show a section where they have some of their best-selling products, so at least you know where to go and you have a guided point of contact. And this particular beauty balm is amazing for men and women. For men, you use it after shaving, moisturizes the skin. It's incredibly moisturizing. It's a very thick moisturizer. And for women, you can use it either as a mask, an overnight cream, or as a cleanser. Nils Yard is just a fantastic store. When it comes to skincare, there are very few brands that compete confidently with Nils Yard. And in that organic, natural space, they're amazing. My next brand is called Waterman's, and it is owned by the Waterman family, and it's the UK's fastest selling hair care brand. They produce a range of luxury hair care products for both men and women, and their focus is very much on hair growth for all hair types. Their products are sulfate, paraben, and palm oil free. They are against animal cruelty and testing, and they are vegan certified. Their products are absolutely amazing because as you get older, or if you're going through a really stressful time and your hair starts to fall, they are one of the most highly rated hair growth brands. And I chose them specifically because whether you're a man or a woman, hair is ultimately your crowning glory. And people will literally go to any length to maintain a good crop of hair, or when their hair starts thinning, to do anything to try and revive that. And they have a range called the Grow Me. There's shampoo and conditioner, and that particular range is the #1 best-selling hair care product on Amazon. It's a fantastic product to have on your radar, and it's a brand that is very focused and committed to putting the customer as #1. They have an amazing website. They react very quickly to feedback, to questions, and the depth of information on that website is amazing. It's worth just a visit to educate yourself on hair. And they ship globally. So that's Waterman's, a fantastic hair growth brand that flies the British flag incredibly highly. My final brand, and one which I've literally saved the best for last. It's a golden nugget, and it's a brand I absolutely love. It's so relevant and so good for what we're going through now. And it's, again, a privately run business, and it's the smallest of all my businesses that I've spoken about. And it's a family focused on gardening. It's actually a gardening brand, and it's run by 2 sisters, and it's called Denny's and Fielding. And what I really love about this brand is that it's very small, and they're really passionate about what they do. They produce everything themselves. They produce in small batches. They're very much into quality control. They're into the quality of the brand, that it looks incredibly luxurious and not an arty craft project. And what brought them onto my radar was the fact that they do the most nourishing gardener's hand cream that I've ever come across. My mother's a keen gardener, and she'd often complain to me about not finding something that was moisturizing enough for your hands, particularly after they've become battered working in the garden. And they sell one of the best hand moisturizers. It's incredibly thick, it's nourishing, it's also healing. It has a lot of really great essential oils which heal the skin and nourish it. And all their products are plant-based, shea butter, no nasties in them. And they sell the hand balm either in a small little tub which fits nicely into your back pocket, or as a tub which you keep at home, and it's great for stocking fillers and for gifts. And they do it with a nail pumice as well, so you really get under your nails and get rid of all the dirt. Fantastic hand cream. I haven't come across anything as good as the one from Denny's and Fielding. But what I really wanted you to get on your radar, in addition to the hand balm, is the fact that, I forgot to mention, especially now where we're washing our hands a lot, and we're also using alcohol-based sanitizers, your hands will dry out. This is also a fantastic hand balm for that. But why I wanted to also put this brand on your radar is that in the United Kingdom, we're very well known for gardening, and people talk about their garden, people idolize their garden, people will buy a house just for the garden. And Denny's and Fielding started off, and they still do, the most amazing deck chairs, which can be used both indoors and outdoors. I felt like these deck chairs are such a ray of sunshine during this time we're going through. You're working from home, create a really nice environment. You can have them either indoors, in your conservatory on the porch, on your veranda, in an actual room in the house. They have the most fun prints. They're printed in Kent, so they're designed and printed in Kent. And they are UV and anti-mold treated, and they're not attached to the chairs using any glue. They're detachable, so you can wash them, and you can stack them away when they're not needed. They're just the most practical, fun, and beautiful things to have. So you have the really rich gardener's balm, and you've got these fantastic deck chairs. I just thought that's the perfect antidote for this period that we're going through, to get you through smiling. But I've tried to give you 5 really good and diverse brands that fly the British flag incredibly highly, and very proudly, might I add. If you have any further questions, do let me know in the comments down below. But do venture out, check out the websites, and try some of these products. You're in very good company. They all are amazing. As always, thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.